Hello and welcome to Hamilton the Podcast. From the Graphomania Podcast Network, I'm Vinton Bain.
And I'm Robbie Herlocker. And it's kind of crazy because people think I got it made just because I'm on a podcast. I mean, I am on a podcast, but that's because we made this podcast ourselves.
That's true. Gang, gang.
We are heading into the next few chapters of this Hamilton Mixtape. And I'm excited to get into Washington's By Your Side in just a minute.
Yeah, that's right. Before we jump straight into the mixtape, we often talk about jumping into things. We need to come up with new vernacular. Yeah. You've been listening to so many episodes of this, and I think every time we say jump into. We're going to fall into it next, or maybe trip into it. It's an accident.
Maybe they have to do some work for it. Instead of falling or tripping or sliding, climb up to our episode.
Despite my...
Climb up to this.
Repetitive vocabulary, we are now going to talk about something that Robbie is doing quite soon and quite exciting.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's right. This episode is going to drop the Tuesday before the Saturday I leave for a special trip to New York City by way of DC, and I'm going to see a certain show that we all know and love.
Cats?
Well, I'm actually not going to see Cats this time because Cats is... Do we have fans of Cats that listen to this podcast?
I don't know. Probably. We don't have fans of the podcast that talk on this podcast.
Well, Cats is kind of terrible. I probably shouldn't say that. I do know that it has a couple of really magical songs, but...
I was forced to watch Cats in school, and I was kind of weirded out by it.
It is weird, right? Magical Mr. Mistropheles is strange, but kind of cool. Memories is fun.
Love what you love. If you love cats, we're for you when your love for cats.
But I am going to see a few pretty exciting shows. I have tickets to Hamilton, which is kind of exciting.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that show.
I have a podcast that you guys might want to listen to if you like Hamilton.
Robbie's getting to see Hamilton.
Yay! And I am going to also get to see Waitress.
Oh, that's exciting too.
We just secured our tickets for that the other night, and we also have tickets to the Joffrey Ballet. We're going to watch Romeo and Juliet. My girlfriend and I are going to go watch that together. It's going to be super exciting. We also, we're not sponsored by Today Tix, but I think I can say that anyone going to Broadway and looking for some last-minute matinee tickets or something like that, you should get familiar with Today Tix, because we're going to try to see if we can catch some last-minute matinees or anything like that during the day for a couple shows. And we're going to get to see some of our good friends. Daphne is going with us, a friend of the show, Daphne Olive from Fathoms Deep, a Black Sails podcast on the Common Room Radio Network. We're hoping to really have a good time in New York City, and we're going to stop by. And my girlfriend's family is in DC. That's why we're swinging through there first.
So will you have any time to sightsee any of the DC or New York City areas?
I might have an opportunity to look around and see how lucky I am to be alive right there, right then. But of course, we're going to try to do our best to get around and see a lot of things. I went to see Hamilton's House, The Grange, a year and 3 months ago. So I did a lot of the locations already, but it'll be really nice to see what else we can get onto the list. If you have a must-see place in New York City or in Washington, D.C., I was in D.C. more recently, but if you have a must-see location, feel free to tweet at me at Alpha Knight on Twitter, and I'll see if I can put it on the list or not.
And not long after Robbie returns, we will be doing a special episode of Hamilton the Podcast to discuss his time seeing the musical.
That's right. And I'm dating a girl who danced with the Washington Ballet for a while, so I may be able to convince her to come on and talk about the choreography.
Oh yeah.
And see what's going on there with some of the actual movement on the stage, because we know how kinetic Hamilton and American Musical is, because it's just it's all movement. It's all of it. So if I can get her on, that'd be fantastic. But we'll see. I'm excited. I am pumped. I wish you were coming with me, but I'll drag you along next time, okay?
Yeah. Maybe we can go to Chicago and see Wayne Brady.
Oh my goodness, that'd be great. Also, they just opened the San Francisco
that's right.
tour, so that'll be really nice.
Friend of the show, Leslie, just saw the San Francisco show and said it was amazing. So that's exciting.
I was following her Twitter stories about that. She was pretty moved by it, I could tell.
So we won't keep you from it any longer. We are now going to dive into our conversation on the mixtape, continuing it here with Washington's By Your Side.
I love what they do with the title there, changing from Washington's on your side to the Washington's by your side. Like, Washington's by your side could, depending on how you punctuate it, be speaking of having Washington on your side. George Washington is on your side. Washington's on your side. But in this case, Washington's plural is standing for our good $1 founding father, General Washington.
That's right. There's a common practice in hip hop of using presidents to refer to money, like
Jackson for the 20.
All About the Benjamins.
Yes,
and
hundreds.
Then Dead Presidents by Jay-Z, and of course the old film Dead Presidents. And this is a nomenclature that we've grown up with, having listened to hip hop.
That's true. We hear it all over the place.
Although people aren't usually bragging about their Washingtons.
Yeah.
Being the smallest bill you can get. This song is performed by Wiz Khalifa and produced by ID Labs. Wiz Khalifa is a rapper, songwriter, and actor, well known for his single Black and Yellow, which peaked at number 1 on Billboard Hot 100. His single We Them Boys placed at number 8 on Billboard's 10 Best Rap Songs of 2014. And in March 2015, he released See You Again for the soundtrack of the film Furious 7, and the song peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 12 non-consecutive weeks.
Did you watch the 7th Fast and Furious movie?
I
Furious
believe
7?
I have only seen up to Tokyo Drift.
Okay, gotcha. You actually got a little further than I did. Yeah.
Well, then you're pretty far behind.
I'm pretty far behind, but this guy knows how to rap.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, it's produced by ID Labs. ID Labs is a music production and engineering team. They are best known for their works previously with Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa had talked to Lin-Manuel Miranda about how he wanted to do a version of this song, or at least from this title, using that to create a song about money. And Lin-Manuel Miranda enthusiastically encouraged him, yeah, go do it and bring it back. Let's hear it. Go do that thing. Bring it back. I'm excited.
It was kind of a novelty, right? At
yeah.
that point.
And Khalifa said, I was just happy he liked the idea instead of thinking it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And apparently Lin-Manuel Miranda just loved this song, and therefore it got a place on the mixtape here. And this song, focusing on money here and also fame, Wiz says that he started from the bottom and he has risen up from there. Originally, this song was an attack aimed at Alexander Hamilton.
You mean in the musical?
Yeah,
right?
It must be nice to have Washington on your side.
Yes. Jefferson and Madison singing that along.
And Wiz here flips the chorus to put that negativity into a portrayal of others' feelings about Wiz's current life of success.
That's right. He kind of goes into this song with an unwrapped stanza where he's just like, it's kind of crazy because people think I got it made just because I got paper. I mean, I do got it made, but that's because I made it myself. And he goes in, he's teasing this idea that he's going to put into the rest of this song, that we shouldn't judge him as if he has it made just because he has money. This idea is this one that we have when we look at celebrities. We usually freeze frame snapshots of our celebrity icons as if they were all born on the red carpet. But if you know somebody's story and you're able to humanize them and relate to them and respect them a lot more, then it suddenly changes your entire perspective of that celebrity. I mean, consider this. Cinderella is the classic rags to riches story, right? Nobody hears Cinderella's story and says, dang, she's got it made. Even though at the end of that story, she does have it made, right? She's in the castle and she is succeeding, and her wicked stepsisters and stepmother are not succeeding. She has it made in that story. She's in the castle, she's married, but your success doesn't have to be tied to getting married, men and women. But the Cinderella story is there. We don't look at her in the snapshot in the end and say that she's just got it made and she's had all of her life handed to her on a silver platter. Wiz is saying that we shouldn't judge him by the final snapshot of his life, saying that just because he has paper, he has it made. We shouldn't zoom in that close to his current status. Instead, if we should zoom out and see exactly what kind of a Cinderella story he has lived. It's the story of hip hop, the story of rags to riches, and the story of making something out of nothing.
Yeah, this song has some really interesting points on how some people can find success when they work really hard. Not everyone is born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Not everyone is born with that success already, but some people can rise up to that by working hard and by putting in those hours and just devoting themselves. And how it can be really hard to work to stay successful even. And how people don't always see the hard work behind that. They just think, "Oh, you're rich, you got the money, it must be so easy for you." But it's a lot of work. It can be.
Right. So what can you tell us about Gang Gang, what he says right there before he goes into verse 1?
Well, this is actually the title of a Wiz Khalifa song, and apparently it's a slang phrase of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that normal hip hop vernacular that you throw out while you're rapping. You know, like, let's go, let's hit it, this is great.
He does a good job of just keeping that cadence steady throughout this whole thing. It's just pushing forward and pushing forward.
And rather than go straight through reading all of these lyrics, we're just going to jump to the parts that we have something to say on. I really like the part where he says, "I'm working with more than I play, which means I'm going to be here to stay." Saying that idea of, I work harder than I play. I'm actually building something here, and that's how you get that longevity. I'm not just spending all the money. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm working hard to keep this, and that's the idea, like I mentioned before, that also takes work to sustain that type of life.
Right. And he is also showing here, I mean, he's building on his work ethic. He said things about how it doesn't matter what most people say because all of them get in the way. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do because I have to get paid. I do my interviews. I'm on the stage. I have to make sure that I'm doing the work, and I'm gonna work really hard. And I'm working with more than I play. I think there are multiple levels to the way that phrase could be interpreted. You obviously have, like, he's working hard instead of playing. You also have, I'm working with more than I play, as in, like, he has more. You could take it almost to a poker metaphor, that he has a lot of chips he hasn't purchased. He has a lot of cash on hand he could go back to. He has a lot that he's working with, but then he's also playing it safe. Like, he's playing on the table. So the things you see him bet are not necessarily everything he has. He's holding some back. And so what you see on the table is not necessarily all that there is. He says that he's going to be here to stay because he has a lot to who he is, and he has a lot to contribute, and he has a lot to bring to the table. There are a lot of things that are going on with this metaphor, but he then goes in to start talking about his history with marijuana and how he rolls it up, and he walks into an airplane, and he's smelling like weed, and all these white people are really, really upset, really worried, really nervous, perhaps, and everybody's thinking, "Oh my goodness, there's this guy, this person of color who is on the plane smelling terrible. He smells awful. He smells like weed." And perhaps these white people are looking down their nose, thinking it's a shame that someone like him would be around here. And then, as soon as they mention, "That's Wiz Khalifa over there," they all go back to being the same. And it's as if they're thinking, "I'm going to judge this person for their lifestyle, for being different than me." But as soon as they know I'm a celebrity, they'll put up with it a little more.
Right. Absolutely.
Did you have something more to say about that?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's good. And he has that pre-chorus that reminds me of Frank Sinatra's "I Did It My Way," saying, "I'm going to do things my way. It's working out for me. I can't be bothered to slow down or stop for every critic who says, 'Oh, well, yeah, it must be nice to have all that money and do all that.'" He can't be bothered to stop for all of those. He's just going to keep pushing on.
I don't feel bad because I did it my way. And now they all say it must be nice to have them Washingtons on your side.
That's right.
So that portion of the chorus is just taken straight out of the musical from Washington on Your Side, where they're singing these lines. They are taunting Hamilton about how he can't succeed unless he has Washington in his corner, backing him up. And then it's almost as if these people are mocking Wiz here, saying that he would never succeed if he didn't have this money backing him up. But his whole argument is that he didn't have money all along. He didn't have all of that from the beginning. So yeah, while it's nice to have the money on your side, Wiz is trying to argue that there's more to him than that.
And in verse 2, he says, "Fame is so easy to get lost in. So many different motives. If you slip, it'll cost you." And historically in his actual career, he had to take a manager to court because he felt like the manager was taking advantage of him and not creating fair deals for him and for the work that he was putting in. Showing that even when you're rising up to the top, there's going to be people trying to feed off of your celebrity, trying to feed off of that money, get their cut of what you're working hard to do. And you have to be careful who you can trust to do that. And he had to actually experience that.
Yeah, he says that you don't know who got your best interest, but if you don't stop, you keep going, they're really talking, you live it. They're just talk. They're not going to stop you if you just press forward and go through it. And when the time comes, you're going to show it. Keep on your heart, stay focused. And if you do hit a brick wall, if you do have these people that are stopping you at every approach, then come in with a different approach. Come in at a different angle. Try to tackle the problem in a different way. Go from a player to coach, because you're going to be the person who gets the reputation of working harder than most.
And he takes it back to the pre-chorus and then the chorus to finish out the song. I really like this song. I like the message behind it, that even when you're working hard, people are going to just look at what you're getting and not appreciate the work behind it always.
I think this is one of the songs that I had to listen to a few times before I really appreciated it a lot. On the first pass, I just heard, honestly, I was one of the people he was probably complaining about, not in the portion of someone judging him for his decisions, but as someone who's judging him as a celebrity with a lot of money. I thought, I've had enough of people who have a lot of money, who do have it made, complaining about people saying they have it made. And I think that's the approach that a lot of people have when celebrities complain, when celebrities do have lawsuits against people, when celebrities are kind of fighting for their own rights. It's very difficult for them, I'm sure, because people do think, oh, you're just whining. You're making $1 million instead of $2 million this week, and so boo-hoo for you. But to be fair, this is the story of hip-hop in so many ways. It's people who are often at a point of success looking back on where they've been, speaking to the place where they came from, looking at the journey they've had and the struggle they've had to overcome and the continued struggles that they have as they go through life. Because in many ways, Wiz Khalifa has not had the privilege that even I have had. I can look at him and say he's had the privilege of money, which, yeah, he has way more money than I have now. But I have the privilege of color, and I have the privilege of some other things that are going for me that he has not had in his own life. And so I think that I had to get past some of my own prejudices just going into the song against celebrities. That prejudice I have against people who have a lot of money complaining about their day-to-day lives. Because, look, struggles are struggles. And it's important to look at Wiz as someone who has overcome a lot of struggles and is overcoming a lot of struggles.
Absolutely. I think that's great. So we're now moving on to the next song on the mixtape, History Has Its Eyes on You by John Legend. Man, this song is beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, there are not many people out there who could perform this song as well as John Legend does.
Absolutely.
He is, I don't want to say legendary, but like this is so beautiful. I had a little bit of a long day at work. It was stressful, and I had some baggage on my plate. I was just frustrated as I was driving, and I thought, I'm just going to put this song on because I need to prepare for tonight anyways. And as soon as this came on, I was soothed instantly.
Yeah.
I just heard his voice saying, I was younger than you are now, and I was given your first command. I led my men straight into a massacre and witnessed their deaths firsthand. And I thought, oh, I just want George Washington, as sung by John Legend, to comfort me every day that I'm stressed. It is soothing. You have this mentor figure speaking to you, and just his performance. My goodness.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with John Legend, which he's everywhere right now, so you probably have heard of him, but just in case, John Legend is a singer-songwriter, musician, and actor. He has won 10 Grammy Awards, 1 Golden Globe, 1 Academy Award, and the Hal David Starlight Award from the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He gained success through collaborations with established artists such as Kanye West, Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Lauryn Hill, and Janet Jackson, but then paved his own way in music, being known for his Billboard Hot 100 #1 single, All of Me, and his song that won the Academy Award for Best Original Song, Glory, for the film Selma.
Selma was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So good. So powerful. Just like this song.
Absolutely.
When I first saw the list of artists who were going to be performing on the mixtape, I kind of was skimming the list because it's a long list. And my eyes just glanced over John Legend's name, and I accidentally read it as John Lennon at first, which just confused me for a second. I was like, wait. One, how cool would that be if we could get John Lennon singing in his Imagine style this song? But two, how do you do that with a guy that got assassinated? Like, he's not here anymore to sing this for us.
That would be confusing.
But I am not disappointed in the slightest to say that John Legend is the man to sing this song.
So you might have noticed that I didn't do something with the last song, which was read a quote from Entertainment Weekly. You're not getting away that easy. Here I have one.
Do you have a subscription or something?
It was all from the same issue.
Oh, the same issue.
So, from Entertainment Weekly, Miranda said about this song, "We had a quick phone conversation, and then he, Legend, brought us back this beautiful gospel-inspired remix. And Questlove was also floored by Legend's take on the song, and it brought in his own vision of what the mixtape could be. He said, 'This totally blew me away. That was one of my jaw-dropping moments. Like, we can go off script and make this a gospel song?' That's when I realized this can go anywhere."
Oh man, and it's so good. There are a number of the covers in this mixtape that I thought, this is lovely, this is wonderful, it's a great tribute, it's wonderful to have such huge names performing this song. Usher, wait for it, but this is the song that I feel actually excels, and in so many ways, I would just as easily listen to John Legend singing this song as Christopher Jackson. Chris Jackson is a role model and a hero of mine, but these guys they could go toe to toe with each other. And John Legend, on certain days, I'd take him.
Yeah.
I'd take him over Jackson.
It kind of makes you think if we ever get the cinematic version of Hamilton with John Legend being an actor and this amazing singer, maybe he could play that role.
That could be so good. So good.
I still hope that they just bring back the entire original cast for any kind of cinematic
I would not,
of this, but
I would not want to vote against any member of our original cast.
Right, absolutely. Now this song lyrically remains almost exactly the same. There's only just a few tweaks here and there to the lyrics, not anything worth mentioning, but the stylistic changes are amazing. Just like we just said, that gospel version of this song, you have the choir singing, the piano, the passion behind the music there, then the vocals. I love traditional old gospel sounding stuff like that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
It carries just this heavy emotional weight. And I really like that this shows you, like Questlove said, that this mixtape could have gone in so many different directions. You can do so much with the songs that we got from our musical by changing them just slightly. They can alter everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could you take this into gospel, you could take it into def punk, you could take it into anything you wanted to do with different genres. It'd be really neat to see how far this mixtape concept can go once you get into all of the different genres taking their take of the musical.
I will be looking for Hamilton Goes Punk, the new album coming out. Maybe I can get some of my old band members together and we can make that happen. Call me, Lynn. So that was Washington's By Your Side and History Has Its Eyes on You. And that's where we're going to end it for today. We'll be back with our next episode, finishing out the mixtape, talking about Who Tells Your Story and Dear Theodosia, the reprise. Unless you're not from America, then the reprise.
Oh, the hoity-toity version. But yeah, and I will also get the opportunity to tell my story about how the trip goes in New York City. So follow us on Twitter. I'll probably send a couple tweets from GraphoCast, at GraphoCast on Twitter, but I'll also be at Alpha Knight myself.
Right. So make sure to follow both of those accounts to get the full story of this Robbie meets Hamilton adventure. At last.
You said Robbie meets Hamilton. How cool would it be if we could go back in time?
Oh, yeah.
Vinton, if you could meet any one character from our cast of Hamilton, an American Musical, who would you meet?
Oh, man. I mean, you want to say Hamilton. He's the star of the thing, but I think I might have to go with Washington.
Yeah. George Washington would be
I'd get
wonderful.
all the sage advice and I'd slap him and tell him to end slavery.
End slavery right now. That would be good.
Like, oh, you're so wise. Yes, this is, like you spend all day with them and you get up to dinner, you have a nice dinner, you're talking and talking, just gaining all the sage advice that you can get from Washington. And at the very end, where you're having your dessert and you just look him in the eyes and say, so slavery. And he's like, oh, and you just slap him really hard and say, fix it.
Fix it. I'm going to send you back to your time in a second, but I need you to do something. That would be great. I think Washington might be the top of my list as well. Although, how cool would it be to take Hamilton to today? And with as forward-thinking as he was, take him to Wall Street, take him to some of the places, see if they still think he's great on Wall Street. But take him to see the structures of life in New York City today, as opposed to the day that Hamilton and Burr lived there. Also, Burr, wow. If he could see how he became the villain in our histories, that could be interesting. All that to say, we have a lot of exciting things coming up in the next week. We hope you join us in 2 weeks for Who Tells Your Story and the wrap-up reprise of Dear Theodosia.
And if I ever invent time travel, maybe a special episode where I get to talk to historic people. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
It might. You don't know. I guess if you ever invent time travel, you'll probably come back to this moment and we would have already known about time travel.
That's true. Hold on. Nope, I guess I don't invent time travel.
I guess you don't invent it.
This podcast, as with all podcasts on the Graphomania Podcast Network, are listener supported. If you'd like to give your support toward this podcast and the others, check out patreon.com/Graphocast, GRAPHOCAST, to kick us $1 or more a month and get some special goodies for doing so. Thank you to all of those who do support us and keep this on the air. We would not be doing this without you. Please remember to subscribe and rate us on your podcasting platforms. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can email us, contact@graphocast.com. Hit us up on Twitter @Graphocast. Personally, I'm at Flesh Eater.
And I already told you I'm at Alpha Knight.
And we'll see you next time to tell the last story of the mixtape.
That's a little sad. It's so good.
Volume 1. Hopefully there'll be a volume 2. And
yes, I hope so.
It won't be the last. This has been a Graphomania production. If you would like to hear more podcasts, go to graphocast.com, GRAPHOCAST.com. Follow us on Twitter @Graphocast and like the Graphomania page on Facebook for news and updates.